So I knew this guy once at one point in time. He was 28 years old. He was at his birthday dinner with his parents, and he was drinking his birthday beer. He felt something weird in his mouth. Thought it was maybe like a wet piece of napkin or something, but it was weird. But then started feeling it move around. So he spit everything out. He had steak and beer in his mouth, but whatever was in there freaked him out. So he spit it out, and he saw what was in his mouth on his shirt, and it was a yellow jacket. And needless to say, he's freaking out. So he's trying to brush this thing off, and then he realizes a minute later that he got stung on his lip. And everybody's looking around at him, wondering what's this guy doing, or at least that was what he thought in his mind. And his parents were looking at him, but he didn't really care. He's just like, what the heck is going on, And so he's self-conscious about this at this time, and he's kind of freaking out. He's like, what am I gonna do about this? It's starting to, it hurts, but there's really no remedy for that at the restaurant. So they leave there. He goes home. He realizes it's starting to swell up. Again, there's really not much you can do other than maybe take some Motrin or something. But he decides he's gonna continue drinking. He gets a bunch of Molson Ice and some whiskey, and he just decides he's gonna drink this away, this pain, this embarrassment, these feelings. And so he starts drinking his whiskey, his beer, his strong beer, and as time goes on, he's blacking out. He's getting wasted, just wasted, and to the point where he's falling down the stairs to the basement, and he knows he's wasted. So he calls into work the next day, and just decides he's gonna take the day off and deal with whatever he has to deal with this bee sting. So he gets up in the morning, and the first thing he thinks of is, what would help this? Calling my friend who smokes a lot of weed. Now, this friend is someone he went to high school with, someone he was still friendly with through his college years and into his mid-20s, but didn't really hang out with him that much anymore, just because every time he hung out with him, he was getting in trouble, but also that marijuana affected him so much that he would get heart palpitations and couldn't really carry on conversations or remember anything, but when he was high. So he didn't really like hanging out with this friend anymore, but he thought, I don't know what I'm doing with my life today. I had this issue with the bee sting. I don't really want to go to work and show this swelling in my lip. It was swollen. It was huge. It was like a ping pong ball. It was huge, and there was really no hiding it. So this friend picked him up, and they proceeded to smoke. Went to see a movie. This was 2006. It was Nacho Libre with Jack Black. Hilarious movie. And watched the movie, left the movie, forgot what the movie was even about. And just still it was having fun, but the palpitations were there, and it was really uncomfortable. And as the day progressed, he confided in his friend. He's like, "Is this bad? Is this swelling look terrible? Like going into stores, it felt like people were watching and looking at him, and it was like, you know, what do you think?" And this friend, one of the reasons he wasn't hanging out with this friend as much anymore was this friend had issues of his own, and he wasn't as much of a drinker as he was a drug user, and to the point where some of the drugs he was doing were scaring this guy. Cocaine and Special K and things that were heavier, way more heavy than marijuana. Ecstasy, things like that, acid, mushrooms, just all pretty much everything. To the point it scared this guy. You know, he's like, I can't hang out with this guy anymore. He's bad news. He's getting pulled over by cops all the time. He's in and out of trouble, and I just, you know, he's like, I just can't see hanging out with this guy anymore. So, but he was desperate at this time. He needed a friend. He didn't have a lot of friends at that time, and so the friends that he did have, they weren't like into drugs or anything like that. So he was looking to escape. He was looking to escape his reality. He was looking to find a way out of his circumstance, and it really didn't seem like a big deal, but in the grand scheme of things, it was kind of like he was thinking, you know, I'm 28, I have a pretty decent job, but I haven't gotten my college degree yet. It's not a career that I'm in. So he's telling me, you know, he's like, you know, it's just not I'm not doing what I want to do in my life. I'm confused, I'm lonely, I'm bitter, I'm angry and self-conscious and all these things, all these feelings, and I just want to escape it. And so that's what he did that day. And the next day, he took what his friend said, even though he knew in his heart that his friend's opinion really didn't mean that much. I mean, they had conversations that maybe their friendship was going to come to an end a few years before that, when this friend of his was smoking weed in his car when he told him not to, and he just kept doing it. He thought it was funny, so the guy lit up a joint in his car, so he took it out, threw it out, and he got mad at him, and he said, you know, this is probably the last time I'll be hanging out with this guy. Like, he's not respecting what I'm telling him. And then, in fact, he was one of those guys that would insult you, call you names, things like that. And it wasn't frequent, but when he was mad, or when you'd make him mad, he would take it personally, and he'd be mean, real mean. And no doubt it was coming from his own self-esteem issues, his drug use, and all that alike. But his friend actually said, you know, it doesn't look swollen. I mean, it you can see it, but it's not terrible. It's not as bad as you think it is, or making it out to be. So he went to work the next day, and he kind of took that advice, those kind of words of encouragement, and they helped him. But he thought, you know, I'm probably not going to hang out with that guy again. It helped for the day. The weed I still don't, he's like, I still don't feel good smoking it. It feels good. It's like euphoric still. It's like a high, but the heart palpitations and the forgetfulness and the just freezing in time and not knowing where you are and what you're doing with your life is just all that outweighs the benefit of it. So he's like, I'm not going to do that anymore. But that same year, so he started drinking more and more. I mean, he already had drank a lot, but he started drinking more and more. And it was within that year that he started having really bad digestive problems, to the point where he was drinking through the digestive problems. He'd eat food, he'd eat a meal, and it would all just get stuck right in his esophagus. And to the point where he might have to throw up on occasion. And then he'd have panic attacks over that. Like, what's going on with me? His boss noticed he was losing a lot of weight. He noticed he was losing a lot of weight. His belt was getting tighter and tighter. He had to pull the loop tighter and tighter because the weight was falling off. Lost about 20 to 25 pounds in a few months. And that was from just, he was in and out of doctor's appointments trying to find out what it was and if he could get a grasp on what it was, maybe he could take the medicine and continue drinking. But they never really found out what it was. He tried apple cider vinegar religiously every day for a month or two, and eventually it cleared up, even drinking through it all. And he felt better. He was starting to put weight back on. He was starting to eat again, and the pain in the esophagus wasn't there anymore. The pain in the stomach, which was like coming and going of like a stabbing kind of a pain, like just an ache all day, some days. And there's no doubt it was, gastritis related, just indigestion. But it never was revealed what the seriousness was and the severity of that was. But he knew that the drinking was a problem, and just that getting wasted was starting to just wear him down, and he was only 28. So it was in that same year that he started dating again, and he started to come out of his shell. His grandpa had passed away earlier that year, and I think that could have played a role in why he was trying to just escape just the sadness of it all. And but he started to look at things more positively. He started dating again, like I said, and he started to kind of come out of his shell. And being that his grandpa was someone that he looked up to, he felt like, it was an obligation for him to at least try to not drink anymore, at least try to find someone to marry, at least try to go back to school and get that degree, try to be happy, try to live a life that's happy again. And so that's what he did. And if you're wondering who that person was, it was me. And I'm here now, and I'm 47 years old. And I didn't quit drinking until I was 42 years old. And that's just one experience that I had, that I thought about last night, that bee sting on my 28th birthday. That I'll never forget. And all the things that surrounded that period of time in my life. I started questioning my drinking many years before that. In my early 20s, especially when I turned 21 and I was going to the store every day and getting beer and just escaping. being antisocial, just going home and drinking. But it never seemed to get better. And getting wasted, it seems like it's fun. It seems like it's a good time, and in a lot of ways it is, but it hadn't been for a long time, and I knew it, but I still continued on with it. I was able to kind of moderate better in my 30s, I guess. I didn't get as bad of hangovers. I didn't drink as much at a sitting, but it was just the period of time where I really started to internalize and think, I'm almost 30, and I don't have anything going on right now. Like I need a life. I need a better life. I want a better life. And I didn't spend a lot of time in prayer then. I always believed in God, but the drinking outweighed everything. It was my medicine, and I'm glad to be out of that. There's hope. So keep the faith, keep the hope. There's a better life out there waiting for all of us. It'll happen.